It's the Center Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal!
Yes! Yes! Yes, this is my favorite part of the game.
Analyzing all of the league matchups week to week.
You can't win!
Get him a body bag! Finish him!
It is a bit above average.
I said this sucks, and basically so do you.
And discussing the boom, bust, and hidden gem players throughout the league.
We ain't found shit!
What the hell is Brett Favre doing here?
I'm in town to play the Dolphins, you dumbass.
Dan Marino should die of gonorrhea and rot in hell. Laces out.
Touchdown!
And here's your host,
Allow myself to introduce myself.
David Harbatkin.
Hello and welcome to the Center Fantasy Football Podcast for Week 4 of Season 5. I am once again joined by the Commissioner of the League, Mr. Gazeletsky.
What's up, fellow losers?
And speaking of his fellow loser, the Millennials with an active social life once again, so ignore the crowd in the background.
Yeah, more of the rock concert in the background.
So,
I will ask this. As David's going over the majority of his talking, can millennials please use his mic until he wants to say something? Here's the crowd in the background of the rock concert. Can you actually hear it?
oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we can hear everything. Thank you.
But feel free to say hi to your loyal listeners.
Listen, it sucks. Let's just get it over with.
All right, well, I mean, should we go over your notes for last week? Because you were dead on all those predictions. So first of all, you predicted that that you would have the highest score in the league. You didn't even have the highest score in your game. Although ironically, the guy you played ended up having the highest score in the league last week.
So I was almost right.
You were almost right. You definitely picked an upset in the game with the 1603ers and the Lightning Rods. The Lightning Rods, of course, with the lowest score in the season this year. So you're right on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. What game do we want to start on? Who wants to start? Oh, of course we will be joined by Dr. Hockey, theoretically, 15 minutes later.
Yeah, and theoretically 15 minutes that never happened.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Jimmy Kimmel and Matt Damon thing, except if Matt Damon constantly canceled on Jimmy Kimmel. So maybe we'll be joined by him, maybe we won't. In the meantime, I guess we'll hold off on his game. And let's start. Yeah, let's start on the Millennials game.
Oh joy.
Yeah, Dave's. Actually, you know what? Let's hold off on that, just in case Dr. Hockey wants to comment on that. Let's start with a game that involves none of us. We'll start with I don't know what game didn't involve any of us. Let's start with the special team versus the Tillett Trey team. Tillett Trey won 155.26 to 122.10. Jordy Nelson did play, which made a huge difference. 37 points from Todd Gurley, 27 from Dalvin Cook, 21 from Devontae Parker. Matt Ryan got 20. I mean, just a blowout kind of win here. Drew Brees did get 26 points. The law firm of Thomas & Thomas got 15 and 21. And Carlos Hyde got 24 points. But other than that, it just started to falter after that. 7 points for Crowell. 1 point for Jack Doyle. Ezekiel Elliott did get 18.40 points. But basically, Tillett Trey team...
The law firm of Doyle and Crowell.
Yeah. So, I think Tillett remains a really good team in this league. I think he has one of the best lineups that's available. I think he was really hurt by the Jordy Nelson sitting last week, but other than that, I think that he's got a really good team, and he's been performing reasonably well. Anybody else's thoughts on this game?
Well, girly man, and that says it all. Good night.
I mean, Dalvin Cook, too. 27 points.
I think the special team needs to be tied in.
Well, what would you do with the special team?
If Jack Doyle can't get points against Cleveland, you might want to pull the ripcord on that one. You know what? I think the coach should stop focusing on the special teams and focus more on offense.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, I mean, he could have played Kenny Britt with a whooping 14.40 points, but other than that, he didn't really leave much on the bench. Meanwhile, I mean, Tillett. I know. He could have had one of the all-time scores. 28 points from Sammy Watkins, Yayas. 21 from Garcon. 18 from Robbie Anderson. And 26 from Dak Prescott. Frankly, I mean, if he would have just played all of the Thursday night game, people, he could have won going away just from that.
Just his bench would have blown out most teams in the league.
That's true.
Would have beat my team by nearly 20.
Yeah, 112 points from his bench. So, yeah. A pretty good week for him.
Dibble's actually rolling with two teams. The bench team and the starters. He has a quarterback controversy on a team that has Matt Ryan.
Yeah. He's definitely got a good team there. I think he's definitely a team.
That bench, that's incredible.
I know.
To be fair, the Rams don't come against.
Yeah. I mean, he was definitely. That was a game where you wanted to play anybody, except for Cooper Kupp, of course. But anybody who played in that game basically got points.
Naturally. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next game, I guess, unless anybody else has any thoughts on this. I think this is more, actually, though. I mean, the special team still got 122 points. I mean, it's not that bad a performance. It was just he was blown out by a much better team.
It's also funny, the special teams part of the special teams got one game. So even the special teams need to be focused.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Nick.
Maybe just another team name in general.
Well, moving on to Nick and Jamie versus the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues coming into this game had a chance to at least be tied for first place, but that certainly didn't happen. Nick and Jamie wins 136.32 to 87.88. 45 points from Tom Brady, 22 from Gronkowski, 27 from Antonio Brown, and 20 points from Rashard Matthews. And that's really all they need. That's all they're playing with.
Was this a case of just starting the wrong players?
For the Blues?
Yeah, could he have won if he started with bench?
Well, I mean, he certainly would have done better had he not played Phillip Rivers, who only got 6 points. So playing Tyrod Taylor would have gotten...
Or J.J. No. He could have threw a dart at a dartboard and gotten more points than Jordan J.J. No.
Yeah. I mean, look.
0 points.
Yeah. So that certainly, I mean, yeah, I mean, he could have, if he would have played the bench properly, he could have won this, because he would have played Tyrod Taylor. That would have given him an extra 14 points, which puts him over 100. And then if you actually put a player that gets any points in the flex position,
he would have gotten 14 more points.
Yeah, doesn't play the Carolina defense, and then even if he just didn't even play them and just got 0 points, it still would have been better. And then Lamar Miller. Yeah, if he would have played. Yeah, I mean, I think it was. Yeah, I don't know if he. I mean, it would have at least been close. This was not even close. This was a week where nothing was even close. Like I tuned in on Monday night and all the games were already decided. It didn't matter by that point. I mean, Nick and Jamie were hurt by Darren Sproles going down. I mean, they weren't actually hurt by it, but, you know, that's something to think about going forward. However, I mean, they still have Brady, Gronk, and Antonio Brown. So if any of these other guys do anything, they're they're still in every game. I think Nick and Jamie is another one of these teams that's you know, you have to worry about them. It's not as balanced as Tillett Trade Team is. I think Tillett Trade Team has so many more players, both on their bench and just in general. But I think Nick and Jamie have those three players that are going to get massive amounts of points. And if anybody else performs on a given week, they're an extremely dangerous team.
Like Sean Matthews, who had 20 points.
Yeah, against Seattle too.
Against Seattle.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's the point. If one of these guys, I mean, like, I think last week it was C.J. Anderson who had a bunch of points. This week he only gets 6.3, but last week he had 30 points. So that's the thing. If you get, you know, you have that base of Tom Brady and Antonio Brown and then add Gronk, and the rest of these players don't even have to do that much. Yeah, well, all right. Well, I guess we could move to my game. Well, you know, not much to say here other than the Lightning Rods completely did not show up in this game. I mean, there were some mistakes I made, and I was kind of worried. I sat Hogan. What?
You didn't start Hogan?
I didn't start Hogan. Yeah, I mean, I didn't start Hogan, and I played Amendola, or I could have even played Thalian. Also benched McCoy for James White, who got 3.8 points. But like I said, it didn't really matter because nobody showed up on the Lightning Rod. You had 11 points from Cam Newton, 5 from Bryant. Des Bryant only had 9 anyway. 20 from Tyreek Hill, but then you get to the running back core. I mean, 0.6 for Terrence West and 4.5 for J.J. 1.4 for Kyle Rudolph. 3.1 for Gillisley. I mean, the defense was one of their highest scorers, almost scoring more than their quarterback at 10 points. So, I mean, just an abysmal performance by the Lightning Rods. And any of the mistakes that were made by the 03ers, they just didn't have to pay for it because they barely had an opponent this week. I don't know. Do you think that this is something that they have to worry about going forward, the Lightning Rods, or is this just an aberration for this week?
I think there should be some worry about Terrence West. A little boomer bust. I can't be sure to start on. Martavis Bryant seems to be the same, and Cam Newton is that. Is that? I mean, if I was him, I would try to pick up maybe Kirk Cousins or someone like that as a fill-in, or even just start Mariota. You're on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, because if you look at his combined score right now, I mean, even if you added the bench, who got 47.90 points to his 59 points, I mean, he could have played everybody, including his bench, and he would have lost to a lot of teams in the league this week.
Yeah, that's true, but you don't expect 0.6 from Terrence West. I'm talking about, like, you should be worried because he's only going to score, like, 7 or 8 a game.
Yeah.
And if you get 7 or 8 from them, 10 from Ajayi, and 8 from Rudolph, you still get Cam Newton's problem.
Yeah. And Gillisley, other than the first game, I mean, he hasn't really done anything much. I mean, he's very touchdown dependent. And well, I mean, he got 12 points the second week, but still, he's really touchdown dependent. And if he doesn't get one, he really doesn't do much. And lately, Brady has just been throwing for touchdowns. So, I mean, he might be in trouble there. And yeah, Terrence West, I mean, he's definitely weak at running back. And Newton has not been good.
He's also rough because his Houston defense gave up 35 plus. Every other team that gave up 35 plus points with a negative score somehow finished with 10 points. So he could have had 49 points.
Yeah. Well, they got a TD, 5 sacks.
Look at these points were 4, 3, 1, 4, 0, and 5. I don't know how you're going to win in this league with those kind of numbers, but my numbers are slightly better than that. So that's not saying much. Absolutely. I'd like to play the lightning rods every week. We'd have a really tough matchup. The way we've been playing.
But didn't you lose to them in the first week?
Yep. I'm telling you, these guys are tricky. Like 59 points.
All right, well, let's talk about your game. Black Ice Dynasty, 144.92 to 94.40. I think this game was largely just Black Ice Dynasty having a great week. Jameis Winston with 22 points, 27 for A.J. Green, 28 for T.Y. Hilton, that was unexpected. Melvin Gordon slowed down, got 13 points. McCaffrey with 20, so he's finally starting to come on. 2.9 from Ebron. And then even Marquise Lee with 10.5 points, and his kicker got 14 points. For the Hagglers, 25 from Carson Palmer, who I still don't know why you dropped him. He was not the problem with the team, but he's now a 1603er. I'll take it. It's fine. Cooper Kupp, the only person who did not score any significant points in that Rams San Francisco game. Sanu, Coleman, Bell, they all had decent games, but then after that, Witten with only 3 points, Curse with 7.2, and Green Bay defense, they got 6 points. So, I don't know, your assessment of your team.
Well, if I had a team to assess, it would be nice. This one can be summed up as most of these players you can see next week will not be playing. That's about all I have to sum up this performance. So it can be a moral thing because your bench sucks too. We like to address a small topic. There are certain players who don't want to win. Let's get into that for a second. I feel like it's an important point. A lot of coaches overlook this. There are players on your team that just don't want to win. You have to be very careful with these players and make sure they're not on your team the following week. So, as you can see, Cooper Kupp, I don't know what happened to him. Curse, the kicker, and the defense. All these players were entities, if you will, did not want to win. The Carson Palmer was had enough shenanigans. Yep. And Le'Veon Bell's on the fringe. He's a fringe want-to-win player. He wanted to win this week. While he's still in the lineup. I think we should have Le'Veon Bell as sort of a demonstration to the team. Set an example? Yeah, set an example. Then I'll have to accuse the coach of not wanting to win. I think the GM should go in a different direction.
I think they are going. If you look at the transaction wire, they are going in a different direction. I don't know if that direction is up, but they are trying to go in a different direction. Maybe sideways.
The GM should be on the hot seat. Oh, the hot seat. Oh, we're already on it. Don't you worry. I think you should get fired, dude. Sorry. I think your time is running out.
Well,
your team building skills basically lacking.
Well, speaking of coaches that
We're
maybe
going with our skilled player.
Well, speaking of coaches who maybe should be fired, let's look at the Millennials game here.
Well, thank goodness for me that I'm not the coach. I'm the GM and team president.
Or the GM. Well, let's also actually the Millennials would have actually lost to the Hagglers this week. Only getting 91.32 points, 9.2 for Derek Carr, 2.8 from Calvin Benjamin, 1.6 from Amari Cooper. And then Jordan Howard, who actually lucked out because there was a play at the end of that game that originally went to Cohen, but it got... Geese, you were watching this game. What happened at the end of that game?
Yeah, he stepped out of bounds on a ridiculously long touchdown run. So all the points got taken off, and conveniently they went to Howard and scored a touchdown.
Yeah, so to even get that 31 was lucky. But it ended up not making a difference. I mean, Montgomery got 13 points. That's still okay. Delaney Walker with 7. And then, who is this, Allison? I don't even know who that is, but got 18.2 points.
Geronimo Allison, he's throwing his head for Randall Cobb.
Sure. Well, he was one of your better players.
The coach said Geronimo.
Meanwhile,
imagine what the score would have been if my opponent played Larry Fitzgerald and Stephon Diggs.
yeah. Yeah.
Could have been worse.
But, I mean, where would it even put him? Because Doug Baldwin got 26 points. I mean, I guess DeAndre Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. But which of the two do you even play? Oh, my God. Yeah, it could have been a disaster. I mean, it was, but, I mean, it could have been worse.
Thank you.
I mean, 41 points for Russell Wilson after not basically doing anything all the rest of the season. Yeah, Dave's secret crush. Making a statement that he did not want to be in the basement with Dr. Hockey. So, I guess this brings us to Dr. Hockey's team. Still waiting that extra 15 minutes, but I guess he won't be able to give us analysis of his game. Not that he really knows what's...
Worried about Derek Carr?
Do you think you should be worried about Derek Carr? I don't know. Maybe a little, but I mean, how has he performed so far? I mean, this was an off week. 22 and 27 the first 2 weeks. I mean, he does play Denver this week, which is not a great matchup. Then he does play Baltimore.
I'm thinking about playing Alex Smith.
That's actually not that bad an idea. I mean, Alex Smith didn't do, that great this week, but I mean, he's been on a good team and that's been doing really well. Plays Washington. I mean, on Monday night, he might actually do. I don't know. I might play Alex. Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, I don't know. I think you have to worry about Amari Cooper, I'll tell you that. I mean, 1.6 points from him, 7.3 the week before.
Move on.
All right, we'll move on. All right, moving on to Dr. Hockey's game. House Targaryen, this was actually a close game. House Targaryen's falls to Nikki Baby 101.92 to 95.36. He picks up Trevor Siemian, who was doing great before this, and this game he only gets 9.56 points. Julio Jones with 6... What's that?
That was a fatal mistake.
Yeah, I mean, he should have started Carson Wentz. I mean, he I mean, not that he was that great, but...
Well, I mean, he might have won. He was maybe 1 or 2 points away from winning if he started the quarterback.
Yep. I mean, he
if he started DeMarco Murray, he would have won.
Yep. I mean, there were numerous places that he could have won this game. If he would have even played Ingram, he would have won this game. I mean, we're talking. I mean, that's like a 6-point win. So. I mean, this game. I mean, Nikki Baby didn't have that great a game either. I mean, it's all Aaron Rodgers essentially in this game, 31.82 points. Everybody else, I mean, Emmanuel Sanders got 14.5, 9 from Adams, 17 from Fournette, okay. Ingram got 10, 14 from Cook, and then just dog shit the rest of the way. So, I mean, Hockey did he was fine with Duke Johnson, who got 22 points. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that was a good, pick. But yeah, you're right. Had he played DeMarco Murray instead of Marshawn Lynch, he would have won this game. So, I mean, Nikki Baby skates away with a win here. But I would not... I mean, both of these teams gotta... they have to question themselves. Where were all the thoughts on Dr. Hockey's team or Nikki Baby's team?
can really rely on are Golden State when he's in the dome and Julio Jones.
Yeah.
About it.
Yeah.
On a week-to-week basis.
Do you think Simeon comes back with a better game next week, or do you think that he's just going to continue to be bad?
I don't think you can start for Simeon unless your quarterback matchup is. And the Giants are good on defense, but they're not great. Like,
They're
if
pretty.
you're playing Denver's defense, maybe you consider it.
Yeah.
But other than that, Buffalo's defense maybe. Other than that, I think Carson Wentz is going to get the opportunity to throw more.
I agree.
Anyhow.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Anyone else? Anybody want to comment?
No, I don't think anybody does. All right. So looking at the looking at the standings, we the 1603ers in first place at 3-0. Then you have the logjam of 5 2-1 teams led by Nick and Jamie Tillett Trey team. Black Ice Dynasty somehow up there, which I can't believe. The Blues and Nicky Baby rounding out what would be playoff teams at this point. And then at the 1 and 2 logjam, we have Nicky Baby at the top of that, Dave's Secret Crush, the special team, then the Millennials and the Hackettstown Hagglers, followed by the Lightning Rods, and then at 0 and 3, House Targaryen. So yeah, we'll see how it ends up going for next week. Now let's look at next week's games. I guess we could start with Nicky Baby versus Black Ice Dynasty. Right now, this looks like a really close game. What's that?
A barn burner.
Yeah, it's
A barn burner.
right now the projection's 124.39 to 123.99, 50-50. So you have Rodgers going versus Chicago tomorrow night. Emmanuel Sanders versus Oakland. Deshaun Jackson against the Giants. Fournette against the Jets. Ingram against Miami. Cook at Denver. Adams at Chicago. And then for Black Ice Dynasty, Jameis Winston versus the Giants. A.J. Green at Cleveland. I think that goes well. T.Y. Hilton against Seattle. I don't think he's going to continue the kind of game that he had against Seattle. Melvin Gordon versus Philadelphia. He might get some points there, but he's listed as questionable right now. McCaffrey against New England. I don't know. And then Marquise Lee at the Jets.
Absolutely start McCaffrey.
What's that?
Absolutely start McCaffrey. New England linebackers are top guys.
Yeah, but who would you put in?
I'm saying start McCaffrey.
Oh, I'm sure he's going to. I mean, his running back. I mean, the running back core for Black Ice is actually pretty good. I think A.J. Green will have a good game against Cleveland. I don't think that T.Y. Hilton is going to have the game that he had last week.
I think the interesting question is, will you start Eli Manning or Jameis Winston? The defense is worse than the Giants' defense. But Eli Manning.
Well, I mean, it's basically who do you think's going to win in that game? Because I mean, they're playing each other. You think the Giants win?
I think the Giants will hold out that though. Even if they lose, they're going to lose probably a higher score.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, let's see. Eli Manning had 30
points.
Yeah, he got 30 points last week. The week before, he got 14 and 7 the first week. Whereas Jameis Winston last week got 22 and 14 the week before. I don't know. I think it.
Yeah, but Eli Manning's first 2 games were without it's completely different.
Sure.
I think A.J. Green's going to have a breakout game. Or not a breakout game, but he's going to score 25 plus.
But do you think T.Y. Hilton's going to have a good game?
T.Y. Hilton? I don't know. Who's to say? Like, I would have thought the other people would have taken care of Tennessee as well, but, you know, they scored like 28 points.
I think. Yeah, I don't know. What about you, Geese? What do you think?
agree with you. I don't know if T.Y. Hilton can put up that kind of performance again. That's going to be tough. Especially against the Seahawks corners. That's one of them. This is really 50-50. I can't even call this one. This is really close.
I think I'm going to pick Black Ice Dynasty because I think Deshaun Jackson is not going to get those kind of points. I think that the running back core for Minor is a little bit stronger. I think go ahead.
I think the key is that Aaron Rodgers is probably going to score 30-plus points against Chicago. Chicago can't stop anyone in their own short week.
Yeah.
I mean, they both are, but I mean, they have to defend Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think this game completely comes down to Aaron Rodgers, but I actually still think that Black Ice Dynasty pulls this game out. I think that he has stronger wide receivers. I think he has stronger running backs. I'm picking Black Ice Dynasty.
I think I agree with you. I think the upside of AJ Green and Christian McCaffrey empower the team
Yeah.
to outscore their projections.
Yeah. Geese?
If you had to, you saying what you want to call it, pick them in this game, I think, you know what, I'm going to roll the dice. Black Ice Dynasty keeps it rolling.
Yeah. I agree.
I just think the concerns about T.Y. Hilton are a little bit overstated, only because the projected score is only 13. Like, they don't need him to score 25.
Well, yeah.
That's not really
No.
that's not really a cook situation. So I think Black Ice Dynasty with average point totals everywhere else in a big game to make it again. I think they pull it out.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Do you think there are any players on either team that should start above the projected starters? A healthy Jordan Reed, for example. I mean, if he's healthy.
Melvin Gordon can outscore that. I think Melvin Gordon might get more points.
No, I'm talking about the tight end Jordan Reed.
What's that?
Would you start the tight end Jordan? Is it Jordan Reed?
You mean Cook or Jordan Reed?
Jordan Reed on Mickey Baby.
I mean, he got 0 points last week.
Questionable every week, but I mean, assuming that you.
Although he has a shoulder injury. I mean, if he's healthy, I would start him, but he had the shoulder injury.
I know, but I mean, theoretically, you know, right? I'm asking, like, if you know ahead of time, you have to go 125 seconds to stop. Because I don't like starting Cook against Denver.
No, definitely not.
So,
yeah.
Any other starter should play? Players that should start?
Well, I would definitely. Well, I still think with all of that, I still take Black Ice Dynasty in this game.
Okay, me too. I think they keep rolling. Cool.
All right, let's move on to the next game. Let's do Nick and Jamie versus the Tillett Trey team. This is actually a really good matchup between two and one team. What's that?
The whole show is a matchup. I wonder if Tillett Trey would be open to trading with some of the lower down players in the league, myself included. They have a lot of players that project well that won't start generally each week. Dak Prescott, Pierre Garçon, Sammy Watkins, or even Devontae Parker if he switches them out. That might be interesting for other players to look at a trade. Can't possibly start them off.
Yeah, but I mean, he has a deep bench, so I don't know. I mean, like, he might be open to it. Who knows?
Well, you package one or two of these players for a bigger name like Le'Veon Bell. if you have a top heavy team that's No. I mean, say he wants to trade 3 players from Le'Veon Bell. You wouldn't do that? Well, maybe. That's what I'm saying. That should be something that the rest of us fans, 1603 should be looking at.
Perhaps.
It depends on do these three players want to win. That's an important. Well, they're 2-1, so they want to win at least 67% of the time.
Well, but we'll see in this game, because I think this is probably one of the best games of the week, because you have two really high-scoring teams, and you have, so I think this comes down to the matchups, really. So, would you start Devontae Parker versus New Orleans?
Absolutely. Devontae Parker and Landry.
You would?
Yeah.
What about Sammy Watkins? Yayos.
I guess. Do you think that Sammy Watkins is regular more than a team playing a college secondary?
I mean, look, my feeling is you always play anybody versus New Orleans, but, I mean, Jay Cutler was terrible last week against the Jets, so I don't think Gurley is going to get the kind of numbers he did against San Francisco. I think he'll still do fine. Dalvin Cook will do well. What's that?
Is Detroit defense any good?
Numbers-wise, they have been. I don't know about their actual defense.
You think Rashad Matthews can have a good performance again?
Who?
Or Jamal Shaw? Rashad Matthews? Can't tell which one that is. I think it's Rashad.
I don't know.
Or Matthews. It's Rashad.
I don't think he could get to his projection of 11 points. I don't think Jamal Charles has a good game, and C.J. Anderson might do all right, and Alshon Jeffrey, whatever. I mean, look, as always with every week, I think for Nick and Jamie, it comes down to Tom Brady, Antonio Brown, and Gronkowski, and they're playing Carolina this week and Baltimore. I think Antonio Brown torches Baltimore because they're going to be exhausted after flying back from London and after that horrific game. I think that Antonio Brown has a good game. I think Tom Brady continues to have a good game, as does Gronk. I mean, it's just a question of, are they insane numbers or are they not?
Would you start Dak Prescott over Matt Ryan?
Yes.
Matt Ryan's playing at Buffalo.
Yes.
So he's not in the dome, and he's playing a very good defense.
Yes.
Dak Prescott versus the Rams, who surprisingly have a shitty defense.
Yes, I would. Would you, Geese?
Yeah. Do you think it's a risk for that close? How do you pick against Matty Ice, though? You think? But you know what? Buffalo has shut down a lot of good quarterbacks already, so I don't know about that call. Like, I think in this situation, this is going to be a close game. Ryan needs to stay. Yeah, that's the thing, though. It's because it's such a close matchup, you trust Dak Prescott to get the point. It's not that if he played well. I would play Dak to get the point. Yeah. He's way more careful with the football. Ryan, he's like throws 3 interceptions a game. He's so careless with the football.
I mean, I would start Prescott.
Prediction?
My prediction for this game is till the trade team wins it. I think that they're more
I think Tom Brady's on a roll. I think Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski will outshoot their projections. And Antonio Brown seems to be matchup proof. But I think Nick and Jamie take this one.
Interesting.
In a squeaker. That is interesting. I think that Phillips team is too well rounded. I think Phillips is.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. I think
The only thing I would say is how many of the players on Philip Trey team, when you have a paradox of choice, are guaranteed point getters. Like, right, pencil them in, it's going to get points. Like you guys said before, if Miami sucks, if Jay Cutler sucks again, then there goes Devontae Parker and Lance.
Yeah.
But they're kind of in trouble.
Yeah, but Dalvin Cook is really good. I think that he'll get his points. I think Gurley can get his points. And I think Jordy Nelson can, too. I mean, I think it's going to be close.
Dallas' defense is they suck, but Dallas' offense, as long as they can do what they need to do on offense, which the Rams are showing very little resistance, the time of possession and all that crap skews so far in the favor of Dallas. And it kind of blunts the effectiveness of opposing teams' offense.
Sure. I still think Tilla Trey team takes this.
We got 2 for Philip Trey and 1 for Jim.
Yeah. But don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be one of the better games of the season.
I agree.
All right, let's look at the next game, which is
Let's get 1603 years of time.
all right. We can get this one out of the way. Yeah, the 1603ers versus House Targaryen. I know that I have a tradition of not picking my team. I'm picking them this week.
Wow, what a bold move. Keep the streak going.
Fine.
You have 3 quarterbacks. Who do you think should start?
Who do I think should start? Obviously Carson Palmer, being that I've started him.
Well, I'm saying this is they all have similar projections.
Yeah, but you have...
Baltimore's going to suck.
I do think that Baltimore's going to suck. So this is actually the debate that I've been going on with, is whether or not to start Roethlisberger or against an exhausted Baltimore team, or Carson Palmer against a San Francisco team that just gave up 40 points to Jared Goff. So I'm going to go with Carson Palmer on this because, first of all, both Stafford...
Hall of Famer Jared Goff.
Yes, exactly. 1. And 2, Roethlisberger just doesn't perform on the road, and neither does Stafford, and they're both on the road. Whereas Carson Palmer is not, and he's playing against a weak San Francisco team. I mean, we're actually getting a call from Dr. Hockey. Look at this. I know. All right, Dr. Hockey, I guess it's 15 minutes later. You're on the air. Hello?
What's up?
And it's perfect timing because we're actually going into the game of the 1603ers versus House Targaryen this week.
How's it looking?
I mean, it's looking great from my perspective.
Why is that?
Because I'm playing House Targaryen.
What about these matchups? Look promising.
Well, first of all, Marshawn Lynch at Denver. I don't know if that's a good look right there. I mean, also, who knows with your team who will be on this team and what will be happening. But you have Carson Palmer versus San Francisco. We were just talking about him. You have Odell Beckham at Tampa Bay. Thalian versus Denver. Thalian has actually been doing really well. Hunt. What?
Playing Detroit.
Yeah. I still think he'll get plenty of points there. You have Kareem Hunt going against Washington, Kelsey 2, McCoy at Atlanta, and Thompson at Kansas City. So a lot of the 1603ers game will be on Monday night, but still, look, Julio Jones will get his 16 or whatever points. I mean, he's playing against Buffalo this week, so that's a difficult matchup, but he'll still get his 16. Golden Tate at Minnesota, he'll still do fine, but I think Marshawn Lynch. I mean, do you not even have DeMarco Murray anymore? You got rid of him, even though he actually did well last week. Of course, I can't assess what the madman does, but whatever. Oh no, you've moved him down to flex. So playing at Houston. I don't know. Look, I've never wanted to say that, oh, my team's definitely going to win. I have been surprised by horrific teams in the past, and this is definitely a horrific team that I'm playing. But, so you can get the upset. But I think that if you have to actually pick this, I think that there are more weapons on the 03ers than there are on House Targaryen. I could be wrong.
How generous for you.
Yes. But go into your thought process about why House Targaryen will win this game.
I'm going with House Targaryen because that's what I do.
Like to be wrong.
And you've gone with House Targaryen every week this season, right?
Yes.
And how has that panned out?
But we are just a few personnel adjustments made that resulted in the losses the last 2 weeks. Both games that House Targaryen had over the last 2 weeks literally came down to the last few players on the field. It's a matter of inches for each game. So I think
You know,
that,
I don't know what that is supposed to mean, but I think we both suck. Re-summarize what you just said. Our teams both suck. At least my team sucks.
I mean, also, you have, just so you know, you're on track. The House Targaryen is, we went over this before the broadcast, was that House Targaryen has the lowest per game total average in league history. In the entire league history. You're averaging 83 points or something per game. So yes, you came close against...
Averages.
I agree.
Not worried
Don't worry about those numbers.
We're worried about the numbers right now.
That should be your new team name.
Don't worry about the numbers.
Averages.
This is the week.
No, your new team name should be Don't Worry About It.
This is the week where it all comes together.
Sure.
It's all coming together for House Targaryen this week. This is
Like
the
the
week we
Giants.
finally get our W.
Like the Giants.
Yeah. Bold. I mean, okay. I mean, I can't argue with that, you know, until Tuesday.
Hearing that impassioned speech, I'm going to now pick the 1603ers in a bland pot. Hockey, the only thing that I would really worry about is going up against Buffalo, Minnesota, and Denver. Those are tough defenses for your stars. So the matchup
We're
would be an issue.
we're not gonna be holding ourselves to that Denver matchup.
No?
So that's
Is it in Denver?
that's not gonna happen there.
Well, it's clear that you are.
Well, who are you going to put... Who are you going to...
You're going to be holding yourself very much to the Denver matchup.
I mean, who else do you have?
We have options. Marshawn Lynch is not going to play against Denver.
So you're going to put in Ellington?
Not on my team.
So you're putting in Ellington.
So Andre Ellington is going to get the nod?
I mean, he's your only RB, so I'm assuming, you know... Is Simeon getting the nod?
We have... That will also be a game time decision. All roster personnel decisions will be finalized by game time.
So then start Tyler Lockett. That's a winner.
I mean, let's just and I'm not saying no. I'm not saying that you can't win this game, but if you take
Can't win this game.
yeah, no, I know. But I'm not going to say that. But yeah, I don't even know what to yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Maybe this is the week it all comes together. Maybe it is.
All coming together this week.
Okay.
Well, in a two-team Caesar, I'm going to pick Tampa Bay to beat the Giants and I'll try to get smashed.
I mean, this doesn't bode well for me, because you're not that great on predictions either, being that you predicted the highest score of the week for your team. I'm kind of worried. I'm almost... You know what, Dr. Hockey? I'm going to pick you, just because, I want to continue rolling by not...
reverse drink you?
Yes, exactly. It's been working well for me. Although, didn't I pick myself last week? I don't think it matters. I think I'm going to win. No matter what I say, what I do... I don't think that I could lose this game if I wanted to.
Oh, my goodness.
I think this is where it all goes down.
I mean, maybe if I start David Johnson. I could pull off a loss this week.
Keep talking. Keep going.
This is the week where it all comes together.
Okay.
Odell Beckham sprains his ankle in the first 2 minutes of the game.
Frankly, Sam's one or two lineman adjustments. I should be at least 2-1 right now. I overcoached myself over the last 2 weeks.
Okay, so you're going to undercoach yourself this week?
Are you high? Like right now? Yeah, I'm not sure overcoaching is the right word to use. Overcoaching, right. I think I'm
Wait.
Worst team in the league. Well, I was going to say, maybe overcoaching is not the right word.
We have the worst record in the league. We are not the worst team in the league.
You're absolutely
Who's the worst?
Personnel-wise, we are not the worst team.
Who is that then? I'm actually curious. Who is the worst personnel in the league?
I have to go back and examine that. It's certainly not our team.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely.
And considering that the Millennials is claiming that House Targaryen is the worst team in the league, considering that we're only one game behind you guys,
It's 83 points a game. 83 points a game.
It's the personnel decisions. It's the last-minute overcoached personnel decisions.
So you're the worst coach in the league. So what you're saying is you're not the worst. So what you're saying is you're not the worst team in the league. You're just the worst coach in the league. Is that what I'm getting from this?
I'm arguing that he has the worst general manager in the league. It's a double.
This is the week. It's all coming together.
All right. Well, we'll see. I certainly hope not. Well, since you were not here for the other, what was the other game? Because it was actually a good game. So Nick and Jamie versus Tillett Trey team. Dr. Hockey, you want to make a pick on this? Because you have two really good teams. So you have Tillett Trey has Matt Ryan versus Buffalo, Jordy Nelson versus Chicago, Devontae Parker versus New Orleans, Todd Gurley at Dallas, Dalvin Cook versus Denver, Martellus Bennett versus Chicago, and Jordan Landry versus New Orleans. Nick and Jamie, of course, has Tom Brady versus Carolina, Antonio Brown at Baltimore, Alshon Jeffrey at the Chargers, C.J. Anderson versus Oakland, Jamal Charles versus Oakland, and Gronkowski versus Carolina, and Rashard Matthews at Houston. So, who are you picking in that game?
Nick and Jamie.
You're taking Nick and Jamie.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. I changed my my prediction. I'm not gonna be on the same prediction line with the worst GM in the league.
Well, I will.
I pick Nick and Jamie.
I picked Tillett Trey. I continue.
Decision making is an abomination.
I mean, you are one game ahead of the quote-unquote abomination.
You're an affront to fantasy football.
You're literally a game ahead of the quote-unquote abomination.
You're an affront to
I don't know if you're bolstering yourself here very much.
We're on you right now.
We're talking.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll
You're
get.
an affront to the sport.
I mean, if you are one game ahead of the worst managed team in the league, I mean, what does that really say about you, sir?
That says that there's a big gap between 9 and 12.
Well, we'll
Win a
see.
game, then say something. I don't even know why you're in the podcast. You should win a game and then come back.
Win a championship and then come back.
This is my first season. What are you talking about?
And you're 1-3.
Championships have you won?
You're a game ahead of the Abomination. One game.
I've won as many championships in this league as you have.
That's incorrect.
Yeah, that is incorrect.
Oh, yes, you used to be good?
I mean, if you want to go out and do your victory dance with your 1-3 record, by all means.
Whoa.
Let me get you a medal for that.
What? 1-3? Are we making a prediction already?
I'm sure he is, but no.
Yeah.
Let me get you a medal for your 1-3 record. Congratulations, son.
He's already penciling.
Welcome to the league.
We already have Dr. Hockey penciling in the third loss. That's interesting. So, all right, you're picking Nick and Jamie. Did we do any other games? We did.
Nicky Baby.
Nicky Baby versus Black Ice Dynasty, which is also a close game. So you have Jameis Winston versus the Giants, AJ Green at Cleveland, T.Y. Hilton at Seattle, Melvin Gordon versus Philadelphia, McCaffrey at New England, Ebron at Minnesota, and Marquise Lee at the Jets. For Nicky Baby, you have Aaron Rodgers versus Chicago, Emmanuel Sanders versus Oakland, Deshaun Jackson versus the Giants, Fournette at the Jets, Ingram at Miami, and Cook at Denver, and Devontae Adams versus Chicago. Who do you pick in that game?
Without studying the matchups, just by listening to what you've been told,
yes.
I tend to lean on Nicky Baby.
Interesting. I picked Black Ice Dynasty in this game. Although it is a 50-50, I mean the projections are basically 124.39 for Nicky Baby and 123.99 for Black Ice Dynasty. So, I mean, it is a pick 'em. Interesting that you're picking all the opposites of me, including our game.
Alex Arganian is the Dick Vermeil of fantasy football. He should have retired long ago. He's over the hill.
Well,
coming from the 1-3 team.
He's hung on too long.
Speaking of 1-3 and the Millennials, let's see if they do go 1-3. Okay, so we have the Millennials versus the Lightning Rods. Now, last week you picked the Lightning Rods to upset the 1603ers. Not only that, did they do that? They had the lowest score in the league that week, and you also picked yourself to have the highest score in the league, and you lost to the team that had the highest score in the league last week. So, that speaks about your prognostication skills. Let's see how it plays out right here.
But he's not an abomination. Oh no.
That's
fantasy czar.
I know you're unaware of what the first column in the ranking the standings look like. There's a 1 there, and that means I've actually won a game. So, like, when you get there, you'll see it'll change over. When you're 1-11, you'll finally have a win.
Congratulations on that 1. Congratulations.
And you'll be able to talk again.
The sun shines on a dog's ass every now and then.
Well, apparently you're still out there waiting.
You're just walking your dog at night so far. Okay, so the Millennials have Derek Carr at Denver. I have Amari Cooper at Denver. Marvin Jones Jr., the league whore who just keeps going around and round. The turnstile, the line is long, but it moves fast. At Minnesota. Ty Montgomery versus Chicago. Jordan Howard at Green Bay. Delaney Walker at Houston. And Randall Cobb versus Chicago. For the Lightning Rods, Cam Newton at New England. Martavius Bryant at Baltimore. Tyreek Hill versus Washington. Terrence West versus Pittsburgh. Jay Ajayi versus New Orleans. Kyle Rudolph versus Detroit. And Mike Gillislee versus Carolina. Right now the projection is 120.72 to 115 for the Lightning Rods. I think I gotta say, on paper, I normally would give this game to the Millennials, but you have matchup problems this week. Significant matchup problems.
I do. I'm actually considering starting Alex Smith over Derek Carr. Quandary.
I mean, you're in
A
trouble.
moment of silence. Wait a minute. Hugh Hefner's died.
Yo, let's pour one out.
What's the world coming to?
Yeah. Only
Now that's an iconic,
I'm moving on.
an iconic hero there.
Unlike Otto, and I actually pay attention to my matchups, and so I'm wondering if Alex Smith should start over Derek Carr.
Unlike millennials, you fail to respect the legends.
I don't respect 0 and 3. Hey, Hockey, what did you say? Hugh Hefner passed away?
Yes.
What did? He's old. Like Otto.
Well,
Whoa. You're talking about a legendary icon. What? You better watch your mouth. I absolutely am talking about a legendary icon, and I'm also talking about you.
well, I mean, I'm certainly one to happily mock Dr. Hockey, being that his entire name is a mockery from mocking him from when he called himself Dr. Hockey, saying he was going to beat me in the BHL playoffs, and then proceeded to get swept by double digits in every game of that playoff. So I understand the desire to mock Dr. What? Well, but so I understand the desire to mock Dr. Hockey, but he does have more success than, all time in this league than the Millennials. And Geese, though he's not that great in fantasy, he is the center's all-time leading champion. So in everything, like he is, I don't even know how you would quantify him. He's been the Michael Jordan of the center, essentially. He's now the Michael Jordan of the Wizards, but he was.
The future ex-commissioner of the league. It's my due respect. It's only Ottawa. Why would you attack the commissioner position instead of lead performance? On the field performance is not looked at, but the commissionership is fair game. What's bizarre? Well, much like Michael Jordan, you may or may not be a fantastic player. But when you went up to the general manager's office or owner's office, you sucked donkey balls. So another harsh description, but I don't do an opinion.
And of course, the millennials. You're. I don't even know what to describe you as. You're the typical millennial who has not earned a goddamn thing, but touts himself as if he was an all-time great.
We just built the modern world, but it's fine. The old-timers on your iPhone, talking on the phone. Thank you, millennial. Goodness gracious.
To the 1 and 3 millennials in this easy league. I mean, this easy league that you're just dominating at 1 and 3 and at 9th place. I mean, whew.
And 2, you sons of bitches.
Anyway, back to this game. Is anybody going to go out on a limb and pick the lightning rods? I think people will do it just for spite, but let's see if they want to do an actual analysis of this game. I'm
actually extremely popular in this league.
What's that?
So I'm extremely popular in this league.
I mean, sure. One of 12 loves you. For one of 12 teams. One of 12 is absolutely in love with yourself. Let's see. I actually am going to go out on a limb, and I think the Lightning Rods come back strong this week. I think that they have a very weak running back core, which is the only thing that might save you. But Derek Carr and Amari Cooper have not been good. Jordan Howard, I think,
I can't go into work tomorrow.
What's that?
I said, sorry, Dave, I can't go into work tomorrow. Yeah. How about those apples?
All right, I'll pick the millennials. Anyway, I'm gonna go.
A preview of how I'm gonna get my commissioner votes.
I mean, it wouldn't get the votes because then, just no work would be done. So, you could bribe and control all you want.
What is the recall election process?
There is no recall. No, nothing is happening on the commissionership.
So I have to violently overthrow that revolution? Is that what we're talking about?
If you feel the need, but let me tell you, you're winning votes left and right tonight.
Am I gonna have to start being nice to Ottawans?
Yes, you might actually have to do that.
Millennials don't know how to play politics.
No.
Ottawa is the fucking best.
Also, if you think real politics is difficult, try playing center politics. It's the most cutthroat.
You guys are a bunch of suckers.
I know. So, on to the game. What do you think? Geese, who are you picking in this game?
I'd love to pick against the Millennials, but the physical performance by the Lightning Rods has me very concerned. And the lineup has not been shuffled one iota, so begrudgingly, I'm going to have to pick the Millennials. Begrudgingly.
Hockey?
Look at that lineup. It's the same as last week.
But they're playing new teams. Yeah, I think begrudgingly I'm going to have to pick the Millennials too. I'm going to I can't.
Begrudgingly? Really?
I can't in good I mean...
I'm not begrudgingly doing anything. I'm picking the Lightning Rods.
I don't need Owen's vote anyway.
I think your matchups are bad. I think you're going to have a rough week, just like you did last week. 1-3 on deck.
I think it's really fun with the shittiest person in the league making the connection.
He's also related to the Lightning Rod, so you have that problem.
No. Even so.
No, I think that there is a chance for an upset here. The problem is that his running backs are terrible. I mean, especially Terrence West. I think that's really a problem. And as bad, I think Amari Cooper. Oof, I don't know. This is gonna be a bad game. This is just gonna be a bad game. I think somebody has to survive it. I think the Lightning Rods. I don't know.
So do you think that I'm going to score more than 83 points this game, on average?
83 points this week?
Yeah, do you think I'll get more than 83 points, on average?
You're already getting more than 83. Yeah, I think that you'll get more than 83.
What's this on average business?
It's a freaking low-ass bar.
This on average business is bullshit.
So is your team.
How many points did you score last week?
More than you.
Did you?
Which I can say every week.
No, actually you didn't. Actually, to be honest with you, you didn't score more than House Targaryen last week.
I know he didn't.
No,
I know he didn't.
No, House Targaryen.
That's why I asked the question.
House Targaryen actually scored more than you last week.
He scored four more points.
Yeah.
So fuck your averages.
Alright, I have predictions every week. My prediction is I will outscore Ottawa's shitty team.
My prediction was you're 1-3.
That's fine. No one trusts your judgment.
Because yours is so trustworthy.
It's better than yours.
Is it?
It's one standard deviation better than yours.
Unfortunately, Dr. Hockey's playing me this week, so I have to root against him. But
obvious easy one.
I don't know.
House Targaryen is the Browns of this league. You just see the matchup and you doubt it.
Well, I will go with the Millennials this week, but I think it's going to be a terrible game, and I actually think that House Targaryen will outscore the Millennials, but they will not outscore me.
I'm going to outscore the Millennials. That's my prediction. My bold prediction of the week.
All right, well, we'll see. All right, so let's move on to the next game.
Hold on.
What's that?
And obviously I'm picking myself.
What's that?
I said obviously I'm picking myself, for the record.
Right, yeah. I gathered as much. Did we do Dave's Secret Crush versus the Blues? No, we didn't.
We did not.
All right, Dave's Secret Crush versus the Blues. Dave's Secret Crush coming off of that victory against the Millennials, destroying them, and moving to 1-2. So
It was devastating. Thank you very much.
what's that?
It was devastating. Thank you very much.
Yes, devastates. I'm sorry, I didn't quote the. I forgot who was smoked and who was devastated and who was waxed. You were definitely one of those, though. You were one of the ones who was waxed or smoked or or devastated. All right, so Dave's Secret Crush versus the Blues. So Dave's Secret Crush has Russell Wilson versus Indianapolis, Brandon Cooks versus Carolina, Hopkins versus Tennessee, Cohen at Green Bay, Abdullah at Minnesota, Fleener at Miami, and Stephon Diggs versus Detroit. For the Blues, Phillip Rivers coming off a terrible game versus Philadelphia, Keenan Allen versus Philadelphia, Mike Evans versus the Giants, Devonta Freeman versus Buffalo, Lamar Miller versus Tennessee, Zach Ertz at the Chargers, and Jordy Nelson versus San Francisco. I think Jordy Nelson has a good game versus San Francisco. I think... you know what? I don't know if Devonta Freeman's going to have that great a game. Lamar Miller won't. Zach Ertz will do fine. Phillip Rivers might do okay, along with Keenan Allen. What's that?
I'm picking Dave's Secret Crush.
I am too. I think
as long as he starts his Seattle players.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Lombardi summed it up when he said earlier he hates his team. I'm taking Dave's Secret Crush.
Yeah, I think I do too. I think Wilson versus Indianapolis will do fine.
At home, though.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, Diggs will have a great game.
He's going to start Doug Baldwin, right?
I don't know. I mean, do you start? I think Brandon Cooks will actually do surprisingly well. I mean, he's actually got a little to play with there. I mean, Freeman versus Buffalo, I don't think is going to do that great. No, I'm going to pick David's Secret Crush. Geese, did you picked Dave's Secret Crush?
Yeah, Dave's Secret Crush all day long. Lombardi hates his team, and I hate his chances.
And the Millennials, you're picking Dave's Secret Crush?
I am.
And Dr. Hockey, who has his own opinions about Eugene. What?
I'm picking the Blues.
You're picking the Blues. All right. Then I guess that leaves us with the special team versus the Hackettstown Hagglers.
Do we have to go over this abysmal game?
The new Hackettstown.
Former listener is going to lose.
The new Hackettstown Hagglers with Deshaun Watson, yayas. Alan Hearns at the Jets. He might do all right. R. Woods, is that... Yeah. I mean, he got 16 points last week. Okay. Le'Veon Bell against Baltimore. I think Le'Veon Bell has a good game. Wendell Smallwood at the Chargers. Now, Wendell Smallwood had an okay game last week, and Sproles is down, so he actually might get more touches. Then you have Witten at the Rams, and Chris Carson versus Indianapolis. I think he'll do fine. For the special team, he has Breeze at Miami. I think he'll do well there. Thomas and Thomas, Demaryius Thomas versus Oakland, and Michael Thomas at Miami. Carlos Hyde at Arizona. I don't think he's going to do as well. And Isaiah Crowell versus Cincinnati. Jack Doyle at Seattle. I don't think he does well. And then Ezekiel Elliott at the Rams. Ezekiel Elliott versus the Rams. I mean, we saw how bad that Rams run defense.
Where's the suspension supposed to start? What's going on here? This is a mockery of a suspension, first of all. Are we going to do this every week? This is a mockery I renew my objection, Your Honor. I renew my useless objection to the mockery of a suspension. If you started one of the scrubs, you still would be better off than you are.
Who, like Greg Olson on an IR?
Finally, we're playing a tight end that's on par with Doyle. Our tight end production is just a non-existent.
I mean, look, I got to pick the special team here, but I don't think it's going to be that bad a blowout. I think Drew Brees will do... Well, he's on the road also, so he's not going to do that well. Carlos Hyde is not going to do... Honestly, like, the special team, I don't think... Other than... I think he's going to be carried by Ezekiel Elliott. I think that's the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm going with the special team. Too much run power.
Yeah. But I will say...
I have to go with myself.
I will say that if Le'Veon Bell can perform against a Baltimore team that just has to be unbelievably exhausted after flying to London, getting their ass whooped, and then coming back, I think that he could get significant points this week. And if he can, that might be able to carry him. Allen Hurns at the Jets. I mean, the Jets, they did shut out Miami last week, but still, I think... I mean, you saw how well Jacksonville did last week. Deshaun Watson, yikes. Going against a Tennessee team that gave up, what was it, like 40 points to Russell Wilson last week, I think? And Watson had a great game against New England. Chris Carson, who's actually emerging as the running back. You know what? I'm going to switch my prediction. I'm going to say the Hagglers are going to win this game. I can't believe I'm saying that. I think they might actually pull off the upset.
Is that an error that we're hearing over the waves? What? Yeah, I was going to go with the upset special, but now it's no longer an upset.
Yeah.
I'm going with Hackettstown Hagglers.
Yeah. I think they pulled. I think they shockingly pull this game off somehow.
Yeah. I think the projections are wrong, truthfully. And my team's not going to be allowed to read the prediction papers, but they think we're going to leave it at that.
Hockey? Who do you think the Hagglers can pick off a win here? Or do you think you said you're going with the special team, right?
Yeah, I don't see the Hagglers doing anything here. No.
There's a man who sees a lot. It's my principal reason for picking Hackettstown.
All right.
Odwin went early for the special team. Wow.
All right. Well.
That going the other way.
Well, that's all the games for this week. So we can continue with the thing that you started last week, which is the lock of the week. Which do you think is your lock of the week for this week?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, come on. I mean, lock of the week, 1603 mush.
I think they're gonna have to come up with new terminology for that.
Mush.
Yeah.
Everyone else is lock of the week.
Geese? I was wrong on mine, by the way, last week. I picked you last week.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the lock of the week probably has to be the 3-0 team against House Targaryen. It's pretty bad. I mean, lightning rods are pretty bad, but it's a tough one. You got to go with the 0-3 team. Yeah, of course. Going 0-4. To be obviously 0-4 in the cellar.
Yeah, I'm going with that too. So, Dr. Hockey, your lock of the week. What is the game you are most confident in?
Here we go. No, this is easy.
Here we go.
I don't know what kind of clown car of people that the Hagglers have pulled on here. I don't know what's going on here.
What? You found our new revised revamped card lineup? We handpicked these losers. One by one. Lose by 25 points.
I'm only going against the guy who streams more than me. I can't possibly see him winning this game.
Each pathetic loser was hand selected.
I mean, understand that he has made 22 moves and spent $135 in the waiver budget to cobble together this team.
To remove me from the head coaching position. I think that's going to be the 23rd move this week. To be fair, I think
A team with Wendell Smallwood wins this week. I stand corrected.
Smallwood is going to be a superstar. Mark my words. To be completely fair, he is the only running back in Philadelphia to get any carries, and the Chargers are fat.
Yeah. This is why I actually think the Hacklers are going to pull off a major upset. I think he has scoured the toilet bowl and pulled out the turds right before they get down to the pipes.
Right before they get flushed.
Right.
I flushed the turd from the bottom of the bowl and spiraling around.
And he's throwing that shit on the wall, hoping that something sticks. And I think some of it might stick this week. All right. Well, I guess that's about it. So anything else for anyone for this week?
I say if you go 0-4, you're not allowed to come back on the podcast.
No, I want him back because I need to talk to him about how I defeat him. There's no way that that's happening. I think everybody needs. I think the worse you are, the more you should be on the podcast.
Well, I'm here.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to wrap it up for all of these. So you each lost your games last week, right? So for all of these losers and this one winner, have a great week, everyone. Good luck in the games, and we'll see you next week.
Good for you. See you in the losers bracket next week.
All right.